See the ocean. See if we can. Look at that.
It was time to leave Los Angeles again and escape to Hollywood for the Redwoods. Primary location for Bigfoot in California, if you ask me. And just behind the Redwood curtain is that special little place where Bigfoot history was made.
Super cool. So here we are in Gorman again, making this pit stop. They're actually open this time. Pretty trippy antique shop. Spoke to the dude inside really quick, and he talked about, yeah, there had been reports out here in Gorman out in the 70s. So there it is. I asked him about what's up with the white cutout there. He says, oh, it's for sale, decoration. And then he got into, well, actually in the 70s there was reports, and I told him, yeah, I've heard of recent reports actually. So something about them crossing from the lower Sierras on over to 5 freeway, and then that's how they maybe get it down into Southern California.
It's a long drive from SoCal to NorCal, Los Angeles to Humboldt, so I did an overnight in Ukiah, Mendocino County.
All right, here we are, Highway 101, Humboldt County. There was a recent Bigfoot mapping project report at a southern Humboldt, and
that would be the red Sasquatch at the bottom there.
The souvenir shop is right here. We've talked about a lot of sightings, first-hand sightings, second-hand sightings that I've received, also sightings that you can look up online, BFRO. And so this stretch of road from the souvenir to Benbow's, a little before Benbow that the report said, and I believe they talked about the Benbow Road, which is, I think this road down here takes you to the river. I think Eel River goes down there. Been down there before. I did find a gnarly rock stack once, super high. I don't know who the hell built it, but whoever did it must have taken a long time. And we tried zipping around and finding it. We drove around the road a couple times and we couldn't find it. It's the weirdest thing. And this report is from a couple of months back. Just seen a gnarly accident, a little on the Mendocino side of things. A car went off the side of the embankment there. And they were getting help already. The highway patrol and everything was there already. So a lot of road cross sightings here, folks. Wonder if it was somewhere around here. I think it is. Great spot. I actually had our sighting a little further up above the hills of Garberville, which Garberville from here, I don't know, what is it, another 12, 14 miles, I think it is. And we're gonna go take a look at some of my favorite spots in the Redwoods as we make our way up to Bluff Creek. Where are you at, Sasquatches? Last year, came to this stop here. Honeydew is over that way, Rockefeller Forest. I had found a teepee back here. Looks like we checked up on it twice because we came up twice last year. But I can see we got something different going on here now. So this has changed here. I don't think it was like this last time. I think last time it was a small teepee. Looks like a bunch of leans now. 101 freeway runs across there. We just checked out a sighting report a little further down south before Benbow. Look at this here. Quite a change. It's all propped up on this one tree here. Collection of sticks right there. Dry creek. No water in there. Eel River's looking pretty low too. It's always the case. Always look out for these white branches. Bigfoot back here chilling. Checking the people out over there. All right. Exciting new little find. Poke around a little more here, see what else we get. Gonna bounce over to the Rockefeller side of things too, see if anything's out that way. Check this out. Totally going here. Several people could live in here if you needed to.
Being back in these areas is also being back home again.
One entrance. There's a bunch more.
Here I follow up on a redwood teepee I found last year that is still running.
to check out this teepee structure over here. Found this one last year, still running. You see it on the intro of my, when we go live. Avenue of the Giants.
Now we leave Avenue of the Giants and head up to Eureka, Arcata, Willow Creek, then up the Bigfoot Highway 96 on into Orleans, then up the hill to Bluff Creek. It was dark when I reached Laos Camp, and Bigfooter Tate Hieronymus had already been there a couple nights and mentioned he had an episode of sleep paralysis the night before. It was something I noted. Excited to be back, I got the gadgets out. One of the things I noticed were the presence of what people call skyfish, plus other odd anomalies also. Searching for Sasquatch is usually done at a ground level, or some might say should be done at a grounded level, but don't forget to look up in the trees. And I'd like to check the skies for any other phenomenon that may be happening at the same time. This fleet of satellites, or call them what you want, were a nice sight to get things started for the night. UFOs/UAPs plus orbs included are a common thing even in this area, as I've had in my experiences, plus being reminded by a local who may or may not work for forestry on this particular trip. And as the crow flies, Mount Shasta is really not that far, if that means anything. Here I'm using the Rattler V2 Thermal Imaging Rifle Scope by AGM. Using it as just a handheld unit, it was amazing to see the difference of visual quality and distance. Also by AGM, the Taipan TM10 256 Thermal Imaging Monocular I had handy. I made it routine to set up my one game cam up every night, and I set it up on the bumper of my truck between all the custom lights. These are a few of what I thought were highlight captures of just the first night, like this object swerving into frame at the top middle of the screen, captured in the last few seconds of 1 minute intervals of recording of the camera. Notice also at the end of this clip some bizarre lights at the back end of the forest that almost looks like a vehicle coming down a road. Here's my breakdown of it. In this next filtered clip, I notice what looks like some sprite anomalies towards the middle left of the frame right before the sound and this next object comes into frame, and I'm not sure what that is. Let me know if you do. I slowed down the video on the replay here, and we'll also be taking a look at a scrubbed down version. Again, this was reminding me of previous experiences and captures, stories from others also the reminders that this particular campground is haunted. But I asked myself, is that, or would that be related to Bigfoot? Are these just out of focus bugs and dust particles, or something else normal to our realm? Or is something else happening here? I do see what looks like a normal moth-like bug flying by. The camera was triggered many times throughout my stay, except for one crucial moment that we will get into a little later. There were many clips with what seemed like nothing was captured and others with possible anomalies like this. As majestic as ever, the swimming hole remains about 8 feet deep or more in my eyes, and is always cleansing, rejuvenating, healing when I take a dip. They say no more salmon run on Bluff Creek due to the '64 flood, and that may be a reason why some feel Bigfoot are not around in this particular area, but I don't think so. I believe the food sources are abundant here, you just need to know how to find it. And Bigfoot could probably survive with just all the bear around here. Is there something mystical about certain berries and mushrooms? Or other food sources? So one of the things, right, is mushroom picking, berry picking. And they say specifically the huckleberry. Let's test this out. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Superfood. Oh. Ever get that feeling you're being watched? That's Louse Camp over there. I never walked the trail this far back. For some reason, I don't know why. And today I followed it, and it goes on quite a bit. Got the berry hands. Back here is the area where I had my game cam pointed towards for several nights. It's also the area of the videos I captured that we just broke down. And for some reason, I felt really drawn to this area the whole time I was there. It's important to note that there was a recent Sasquatch report given by a local native family that had some kids swimming way down the creek, and they reported a Bigfoot had thrown some rocks from up on this ledge here that I'm walking on now. The story goes, the kids immediately made it back to camp, and one of the first adults they spoke to was a gentleman I got to meet plus camp with for several days, a local from Humboldt County. as well as a good friend of Todd Samples from Bigfoot Wilderness Research, who we'll see on an upcoming episode. This trident tree on the right got my attention already.
Interesting.
If I'm not mistaken, this is Bluff Creek Road, just eaten up by the forest again. There's been odd stories from others in the past from Louse Camp, as well as a few things I've experienced throughout the years. There's one account from two people that we know that seen a ghostly apparition of a Native American woman. There's Bobo's Bigfoot sighting, as well as many other stories. I could be wrong, but something inside me tells me this may be the area where the kids had the rock throwing incident. Here I find another one of those tridents. What I realize is that there's a lot of these trees in the Bluff Creek area. Could it be bears or some other type of wildlife? And some of us tend to find these in the weirdest of places and situations.
There's a flat area up here that we'll check out. Maybe I'll set up a game cam up there, see what happens. Maybe this happened. That tree break right there. And there's the top of it. There you are.
That'll make a trident.
That wood fibers are just checking it out. Never know. Might get lucky. Pull the lock. There's more over here. It's topped off.
It reminds me of topping certain plants, or the thym technique.
Edit.
Water sources, check. Food sources, check. What else does Bigfoot need?
Back at camp, we noticed, me and someone else were noticing this weird red flashing light. It happened a couple times, and it wasn't until that other person mentioned it.
Also, a day or two later, I noticed up at the cell site, a ridgetop location, one of these similar objects I captured back in Southern California.
And I was like, yeah, I've been seeing that too. And then Tate noticed some weird light down the creek a bit over on that side. And remember, I had my game cam set up last year. We got that weird little orb thing that was popping up.
I also seen that white light that Tate seen, and it reminded me also of a vehicle driving down the creek, which would be impossible.
Weird little light, and I kind of want to set things up there also, but we have some government workers here also camped out for a couple days. They were here last year. We briefly touched on it, but yeah, they're surveying something. And so Yeah, it's all good. So we'll have to maybe switch gears, maybe be a little quieter around camp. Not that I'm loud, but we might get loud, a little bit loud once there's a group, but I've never seen a deer or bear in camp. Well, as soon as I started walking the trail there's camp. This is a trail in. Look, right at the trail. Some old bear dung. Big old pile. But this is perfect for them to just creep their way up to camp and check it out. And of course, the vantage point up there is that ridge. It's perfect. And Robert Leiterman, part of the Bluff Creek project, he's talked about how the acoustics of Laos Camp and how we're in a bowl there. And I think I explained kind of the setup here last year, so I won't do all that. Maybe we'll just check it out on video when I do that. But just catching everyone up to what's been going on here. Other than that, it's been, quiet. Well, you got the birds and everything, all the sound of the creek, which is epic. It's all lovely sounds that I like. Yeah, some of the local fires. There's a Butler fire. We got an alert on this thermal pad I got now. So excited to put some of the gear to use. I spent the day charging all my stuff. I need to recalibrate the scope. I got one of those Rattler scopes, thermal scopes now. And I can't get it to really focus, but it's charged. And hopefully one of the guys, I hear Damon's got a new thermal drone. We got some awesome footage last time, and I'm sure he'll let us get a sneak peek. So yeah, we still got people coming in. Spotted a few satellite last night, satellites. Some of the guys seen that for sure. All right, what is it, day 3? Some people headed up to the other site, up the hill. Some people went and did town runs into Willow Creek. We're gonna go for a little walk. Tate, Brent, and Stevie went up for a little drive towards Onion Lake last night. And they said that they were driving back and noticed a rock about that big in the middle of the road that wasn't there when they first went by. They described it as almost placed. We'll go for a little drive later.
I came up twice last year, so I did a quick recap of some basic areas, and then I decided to head up some old logging roads I had never explored.
Something's telling me to check out this area over here. Let's see. Got these little mounds are probably done by machinery. Marker there. So this is probably thinking of an old road, maybe. Looks like it. It's got eaten up by the mountain.
road.
What a mess. A natural mess. What is that? Let's see. This just fell out. It just dropped from up there. It is a little breezy. Hopefully the camera caught that. Go up a little further up.
Could be a Martin Tootsie Roll.
Drop the poop.
A little thicker back there.
Alright, I found a little shady spot. Maybe we'll try a couple rock clacks for the heck of it. For the clack of it. See what happens.
No response with the clacks there.
Little path right here. Little mushrooms. Still see a path up that way a bit, but
Can't deny when being alone in this area and knowing quite a bit of the history, Bigfoot doesn't sit in the back of the brain. The feeling of not being alone is definitely present. That sounded interesting, and I asked myself, why didn't I go in there at the time?
who knows? Looks like something's been coming through there. Looks pushed down from that way. It's all pretty crazy in there.
At the time, I honestly felt it was too thick.
See, even these bushes look all pushed over down. There is a tree down here too. Could be natural. Maybe something goes through there. It's like impressions and stuff here too. I mean, it could be anything.
Like bear.
Here too, there's these dips. Could it be Martin poop? looking pinched off. At points, this bear poo pinch off. I don't know. Seen someone bring that up recently. It's like a little path right here. Good little hangout spot in there. Good spot to camp here. Drive down here, set up. It's a little creepy having the bridge there though. Never know what's under the bridge at night. Check out the last year's video. We went under the bridge there, came down here. Just having another look around. Oh yeah, I could just sit in the shade and eat berries. Things are really starting to warm up now. Not sure how hot it's supposed to be today. Air looks not too bad. Yesterday there was noticed a little bit of smoke at one point during the day. Culvert. This is the spot where the barrels and all that were thrown over. If you know some of the Bigfoot history here, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, we're gonna walk up the road now. Man, the forest just eats it up back here. Keeps going up that way. A flat area there. No Bigfoot sightings on this exploration, but who knows, maybe Bigfoot had a sighting of me. It was good to get out of camp and get some exercise. I do think about the different aspects of Sasquatch, from being just a flesh and blood being to the far outside of them being able to do things that would be labeled paranormal or supernatural when I'm out here. Alright, we're at the new hangout spot with some new friends. Jonathan hadn't been back here either. Almost about a week into this trip now, and the plan was to head up to Mount Hood, Oregon, and then bumping Lake Washington with Tate after spending 2 weeks here at Bluff Creek. I did not get to review any of my video or audio till I got back to home base, but I did want to elaborate on some interesting things that I thought had happened thus far. When I first arrived and Tate mentioned about his sleep paralysis episode, I didn't just brush it off as some normal phenomenon. I knew there was something more at play here.
Smoke out there. Getting pretty smoky.
The spirit world. A couple of days later, I almost had my own episode of sleep paralysis when I went to my tent in the middle of the day for a nap because I felt tired. I laid face down with my feet hanging outside of the tent, and the sun started beaming and it was getting hot. and I started feeling the first stages of sleep paralysis, and I was able to pull myself out of it quickly. Maybe the long drive and late nights of Bigfooting had something to do with it, but I really questioned that.
Well, what's funny is I saw it last October and I was like, I have to get that. Yeah. And it was bugging me all year, and I was like, I bought it and never looked back. You gotta carefully get in.
Now I was gonna walk into a store and see one for $25.95.
We got a special treat, Rowdy Kelly chefing it up.
Rowdy's got some elk going on there. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna go with this spaghetti here.
Oh.
Let's see. There it goes.
Beans Camp is always oddly quiet at night.
Back at Beans Camp.
There's a local friendly deer there. And on this night, we had a group of 5 deer show up. One of them walked straight towards us, a group of 5 men. I thought that was a little odd. Maybe it was our friend from Beans Camp. I'm not sure what this object is here, but it does have a squatchy look to it. Near here is where we encountered a deer, and I was excited to get my first wildlife footage with the new thermal. And as it goes, that footage was nowhere to be found. Some say if you knock on wood 3 times, it could be good luck. Others say if you do wood knocks, you could be disturbing elementals and or calling in other negative things. Back at Laos Camp, we take a different approach. I also don't whistle in the dark in the woods at night.
Could work.
If strange lights seem to be the theme, then why not? I was in the perfect mindset for it.
I don't know, Glenn, do you want to walk up the road with me and put out a couple of light sticks?
Yep. Yeah, we could do that.
We went and put one glow stick outside of camp at the junction of the roads,
This one's cool.
hoping that it would work like a fishing lure to a fish and we would attract something. We hung them high as possible up on trees, chose the pink one for the junction and the green one for the entrance of camp.
Alright, here's the second glow stick. Just put a pink one over at the junction of the roads over there. And this one's at the entrance of camp.
Now we enjoyed the light rave. I did as much drive-by squatching as possible. Here I'm using the Psionics night vision to see if I can capture anything like we did last year. We'll get into that a little further down the road. Around this same time the year before, Jonathan Easley, Alex Pedikov, and I were leaving the Laird Meadow area around 3 a.m.-ish after a long night of Bigfooting and hearing some vocalizations up towards Onion Mountain. Something told me to record while I was in the back seat, and later when I returned from that trip, I reviewed the video and noticed what looked like a black smoky anomaly floating across the road. We did not see it in real time, and I'm the only one who believes of the three that there is something there, or maybe it's just a shadow due to the lighting. There's advantages and disadvantages when comparing thermal to night vision. I like to carry both and switch up between the two. We like to return to Layered Meadow due to its history and our experiences of the past. We've gotten vocalizations there before, and I could share one time an intense personal thing that happened. We were camped out in a little pullout, and it was a big group of us, and we were in a horseshoe shaped. We had all our vehicles parked, and we did a long night of Bigfooting, and it was getting late, and people were getting tired and going to bed. Finally, I went into my truck, and I slept in the front. At one point, I heard something in my head telling me not to open my eyes, and I sensed a presence outside. Then I felt the front of my truck, which has a custom bumper and is raised, slowly starting to get pushed down. And that really got my attention, and I didn't open my eyes. I had the feeling that if I opened my eyes, I was going to see something very shocking. Even though I came up all this way to have a sighting, I listened to my intuition or whatever that voice was. Maybe that's why I'm still here. There's also the hair of Damon Irons found several years back on a twisted tree, which will probably become one of those tridents here in the meadow. The night of the bumper incident, we had a solid crew like Kip Morrell and Bart Coutinho, just to name a few. The thermal drones are a game changer when it comes to gadgets and this topic. They're your eye in the sky and at night. It was a surprise to me to find out that this thermal scope had audio. I had to mute this particular clip because it picked up a private conversation. The audio is not bad, but compared to the night vision, the psionics audio blows it away. Just a little insight for anyone interested in these technologies. I maxed out all my devices as far as recording and data space. There's long minutes of recordings on different devices that still need to be examined for anything of interest that might be detected. That cocking sound is the thermal unit calibrating itself. The unit has several settings, so it can be a little complicated when using it for the first time, so I did the best I could for the time being. We didn't hide in bushes this time. We just pulled off to the side of the road and sat around like normal campers. But I guess the thermal drone could be a little sneaky.
You put it like on the hood of the roof.
Alright, it's a little past midnight and we're at Layered Meadow. Let's see what happens tonight.
At the meadow? Yep.
I know, I saw it last week. How much? Yeah, that's what you told me. I was up at the food and stuff. Oh, that was
Those are good.
If Bigfoots do have supernatural abilities, would being not detected by thermal be one of them?
Trying to find the field. Like the actual meadow, you know? Yeah, there's the road. Oh, it's right here.
There it is. That's the bigger one.
Mm-hmm. Nothing is right now. Over there. Oh, wait, what's that? There's two things there.
New rocks.
They're kind of oddly shaped this thing.
They're shaped really strange. Like a triangle.
Yeah, dude.
The two alien spacecraft.
That's in the big meadow?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bear? What the hell is that?
It's a stump.
It's a weird looking stump.
Maybe?
Could be, but that's...
That doesn't look like a stump.
Is it the IR feature there?
Yeah, the zoom with the IR spotlight.
I guess it's a fallen log, or how did the log get there?
Yeah.
In a few, we'll do like a...
Can you repeat what you're going to do here, Jonathan?
Just gonna do a couple knocks using this purple jam block. Maybe in a few, we'll do like a vocalization call.
That's when he's looking through the thermal, right? He's not recording it because it doesn't record, but he's watching it. He says doing weird little movements and holding his hand up, and as if it was trying to block out the ambient light so he could try to see bar it.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't.
I told you I'm like halfway past sleep.
He's studying the woods right now.
He's studying.
My ears and my nostrils out of the eyelids.
This one remains an unknown in my book, since we didn't confirm whether or not it was the ISS or some satellite.
I don't know, satellite?
Is that satellite? That's
When I lived in the area, it was a common occurrence for the strange balls of light to appear on our land. Some of them would even take off into the sky and would look like this object right here. I included a couple of clips in the intro of this video as well as some other bizarre captures.
Crazy.
No responses that we noticed in real time, but for me that didn't mean that nothing was happening. as in the following night, I was going to have an experience that would be terrifying for many people. Take in deep meditation there.
Actually, the rail part, the handle part, is fine. The bottom beam,
This little moth is going crazy. He doesn't know what to do with all that.
We wrapped it up and headed back to Laos camp for more s'mores.
All right, this is where we were last night. We're back at Layered Meadow. Brought some of the guys with us. Jonathan. We got two Jonathans, but we got one of them here. Tate, Thomas Steenberg, and Rick Hill. So you'll see some nighttime footage. Thermal and night vision from here. Nothing happened really last night. That's how it goes. Damon had drone out. In this area, I found tracks back in the day. He was just mentioning, I forget who.
Gorgeous George. Lead the way.
Promise you can say, and I'm here with Glenn too.
And here's Glenn.
Right.
Now, in the springtime, does this area flood? I'm wondering why this stays open like this. Why the forest doesn't close in. Because this looks the same as it did back in the 80s.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of just stayed this way for a long time. I think it's, it might be more with snows and during the rainy season it stays pretty wet and not enough can grow here except for this. Kind of swampy. I've been here October, it's been pretty wet before.
Mushrooms starting to pop out already.
If you were to ask me how the vibe is up here, I would say squatchy.
Seems like something where something would come hang out. There's still space in here. And there's several of them throughout here.
I encourage people to keep an eye out for timestamps. More eyes are better than two.
They're checking this area out here. Just looking for any sign of anything.
There's another top tree on the left that'll become trident.
These guys are flying the drone up there.
Over here is Laird Meadow in the Bluff Creek area. This area is pretty significant because in 1964, Roger Patterson I can actually take you to. I think Cliff Barrington was trying to find that pond, and he ended up finding it. And there's a little pond with a little creek that runs into it, but it's kind of overgrown with trees and shrubbery.
Some pan for gold. I'm panning for Sasquatch.
Looks like something was back here from peeling bark. Bear, most likely. Trying to check any of these muddy, wet spots for any tracks. You can see a trail here, most likely deer. Just kind of following that.
At this point, I was running out of data space on my phone to be able to record. I was doing every hack I knew to be able to make more space to record. Although I wasn't completely out of options, my phone is my go-to for convenience and quality. You never know what you might find in these hills. I always enjoy searching for something.
Damon spotted some deer last night on the thermal drone in this area. Red huckleberries here. Here and there.
I feel it's important to follow up on your spots, so I didn't mind returning here. But I was anxious to check out some new locations.
No sign of structures or anything like that up here.
Doesn't mean they're not around. After a long day and night of squatching, things got really weird for me. I'm gonna start by showing this game cam footage from 2 days before behind my tent and camp. And for whatever reason, my game cam didn't record the night this strange light appeared behind my tent. This is the raw footage. Keep in mind that sound you're hearing now is someone's air mattress camped off to one side of me. And no, I don't believe this was anyone from our camp or a person at all. I did notice a really bad sewer smell that was overpowering as well. And I did also feel a presence of something outside. With the little bit of space left on my phone, I used it to take several clips from the inside of my tent, and I could clearly see something outside of it, shining from behind it, lighten up the inside of my tent. And this happened for over an hour.
The experience made me think of this game cam footage we got last year in the same campground in October. It was just Tate and I, nobody else. And I shared it with a reliable local source, and they feel it was maybe some sort of normal light source. But I don't think so. Makes me wonder, what do you think? Could this be the same light that was beaming behind my tent? Are the Bigfoots really here, but maybe in light or orb form? Or are they hidden inside of the trees, like we've heard before? Or is this a UAP slash UFO or some other paranormal phenomenon? I think there's more to Bigfoot than what most people think, and maybe this is just a little insight into it.